The medical bay of Station Kepler 7 bustled with the usual controlled chaos of intergalactic healthcare. Casper Merida wiped down the bioscanner for the third time that hour, her human hands moving with practiced efficiency while her colleagues, a Vexian with crystalline skin and a Thalorian whose tentacles managed 4 patients simultaneously, handled the steady stream of visitors. Then the doors hissed open, and silence crashed through the ward like a physical force. The creature that limped through the entrance defied every aesthetic the galaxy had agreed upon. Its scales weren't the pleasant iridescent shimmer of the saurian species, but rather a mottled gray-green that seemed to absorb light itself. 6 eyes, too many eyes, rotated independently in a skull that was simultaneously reptilian and insectoid. Wings torn and leaking a viscous amber fluid dragged behind it like broken sails. The smell hit next, sulfur mixed with rotting vegetation and something else, something that triggered the prey instinct embedded deep in every species' evolutionary memory. "I require medical assistance," the dragon rasped, its voice like stones grinding together. The Vexian medic took 3 steps backward, her crystalline body refracting light in patterns that signaled pure terror. The Thalorian had already retreated behind a partition, tentacles pulled tight against its body. Around the medical bay, every alien, patients and staff alike, found urgent reasons to be elsewhere. Casper watched this exodus with the detached interest of someone who'd seen prejudice take many forms across the stars. She'd been stationed on Kepler 7 for 8 months, long enough to understand the galactic hierarchy of acceptable species, long enough to know that Draconis horribilis, the creepy dragons as they were unkindly called, occupied the absolute bottom rung. "Please," the dragon said again, and this time Casper heard past the grinding voice to the pain beneath. One of its middle eyes focused on her, pupil contracting with what she'd learned to recognize as hope. "The others? They turned me away from 4 stations already." The creature's right wing hung at an unnatural angle, the membrane torn in several places. Chemical burns scarred its underbelly, plasma fire if Casper's training served her correctly. This wasn't a minor injury requiring a quick dermal regenerator. This was someone who'd been hurt badly and ignored repeatedly, trauma compounding with each rejection. "Casper, don't," her Vexian colleague hissed from her hiding spot. "They're dangerous, unpredictable. There are protocols that say I treat patients who need help." Casper interrupted, already moving toward the dragon with her medical scanner raised. "That's my job. That's our job." She'd seen this before, of course. Not with dragons specifically, but the pattern was ancient and universal. Fear of the different. Revulsion toward the unfamiliar. On Earth, humanity had spent millennia perfecting such prejudices before finally, painfully learning better. Looking at this wounded creature being treated like a monster simply for existing, Casper felt the familiar anger that had driven her into xenomedicine in the first place. "What's your name?" she asked, approaching slowly with her scanner visible and non-threatening. "Vexthor." The dragon's voice softened slightly. Multiple eyes blinked in sequence. Surprise Casper recognized from her study of Draconis body language. "You're not afraid?" "I'm human," Casper said, as if that explained everything. In a way it did. Humanity's first contact with the galactic community had been rocky, precisely because humans didn't share the common evolutionary triggers. Where other species saw nightmare predators, humans saw interesting biology. Where others felt instinctive revulsion, humans felt curiosity. The scanner data painted a grim picture. 3 broken bones in the wing structure, severe plasma burns requiring immediate treatment, and Casper's jaw tightened. Signs of malnutrition suggesting Vexthor had been denied medical care for weeks. "Possibly months. This is going to take some time," she said, guiding the dragon toward her primary treatment bay. "The wing damage is extensive. I'll need to set the bones, regenerate the membrane tissue, and treat these burns before infection sets in." "You'll actually treat me?" 6 eyes focused on her simultaneously, an expression of such profound disbelief that Casper's heart ached. "Of course. Now lie down on the platform. Yes, that's it." This might sting. For the next 3 hours, Casper worked with the focused intensity that had made her one of Earth's most requested xenosurgeons. She sutured torn membrane with microfilament thread, applied regenerative compounds to burns, and carefully realigned bone structures that were as delicate as they were alien. Her colleagues watched from a distance, their fear gradually giving way to professional shame as they witnessed what actual medical care looked like. Vexthor remained remarkably still throughout, though occasional rumbles, purrs, Casper realized, emanated from deep within its chest when she successfully completed a particularly painful procedure. "Why?" Vexthor asked during one of the quieter moments, his grinding voice softer now. "Your species gains nothing from helping mine. We have no resources, no political power. The galaxy sees us as monsters." Casper paused in her work, meeting those multiple eyes directly. "My species spent a long time being monsters to each other for stupid reasons. Different colors, different cultures, different beliefs. We nearly destroyed ourselves over it." She resumed working on the wing membrane, her hands steady. "When we finally made it to the stars, we promised ourselves something, never again. We judge beings by their actions, not their appearance. And you, Vexthor, you asked for help. That's not what monsters do." The dragon was silent for a long moment. Then, "The galaxy calls humans strange for this. The galaxy calls humans strange for a lot of things," Casper said with a slight smile. "We eat capsaicin for fun, we adopt apex predators as pets, and we cry at fictional stories. But if being strange means treating people with basic dignity regardless of how they look, I'll take strange over normal any day." As Casper applied the final layer of synthetic membrane to Vexthor's wing, the medical bay's doors opened again. A Saurian official stood there, its elegant scales gleaming. "I'm told there's a Draconis being treated here. This is highly irregular." "What's irregular," Casper said without looking up from her work, "is that a patient with severe injuries was turned away from 4 medical facilities. That's not irregular, that's malpractice, and it's going to be in my report." The official sputtered, but Casper ignored him, focusing instead on her patient. Vexthor's wing was finally whole again. The membrane regenerated and the bones properly set. In a few days, with proper rest and nutrition, he'd be able to fly again. "Thank you," Vexthor said simply, all 6 eyes blinking in what Casper had learned was the Draconis equivalent of a smile. "I will remember this." "So will I," Casper replied. "Now get some rest. Doctor's orders." As Vexthor settled into recovery, Casper returned to her workstation, ignoring the stares of her colleagues. Tomorrow there would be forms to fill out, reports to file, and probably some uncomfortable conversations with station administrators. But tonight she'd done what she'd always done, what humanity had taught itself to do after so many painful lessons. She'd looked past the surface and seen someone who needed help, and she'd helped. That's what humans did.